Hello and welcome to our Euro 2016 show with no name. We couldn't come up with one, so we're not going to bother. It's a little bit of a preview and a little bit of Fantasy League, and you'll find out just why at the end of the show. On tonight's show, we've got 3 English fans, as well as a Welsh fan, a Slovakian fan, and a Russian fan. So let's go chat to the first English fan. Gonzo, you are not the biggest international football fan. Are you looking forward to the Euros, though?
No.
Care to expand?
I thought you were just going to introduce everybody first, but it's lovely to be on the Euro 2016 show with no name.
As always, of course. Tom, however, the other Englishman, who are you thinking is going to win the Euro 2016? Who's your fancy to really go out in France and be the team to beat?
I like the French this year, and I'm not just saying that because of Payet. I think they've got a really strong squad, and I think on home turf that they're gonna do well this year. And I also think the Germans, they do love a good tournament, and I think that at any point they can show up big time. So I think it'll be between the two of those this year.
I'd imagine that's going to be the popular opinion. Our third Englishman, Charlie, who are you thinking is going to be there for the golden boot at the end of the tournament? Who do you think is going to be right up there?
Golden boot wise, I think Müller. I think Thomas Müller is just such a prolific goal scorer in tournaments. It's insane. I'm not quite sure how he seems to consistently does it, but he just does. And if France can get a striker that can consistently score, they could probably be very highly up there as well. But if I was to pick one right now, Müller.
Yeah, well, this one was expanded to get even more countries in it, and there was more countries, but my one still didn't bother qualify. So cheers, Ginger Dwarf. Thank you very much for that one. So I'll just have to root for the Welsh, the Slovakians, and the Russians. That's who I'll be representing tonight. Charlie, well, just so you use at home, the 4 of us all picked 11 players for the Suns Fantasy League Dream Team. The reason for that is because we'll be entering a little competition, but to find out more about that, you're going to have to go on West Ham Fan TV channel, link below in our YouTube. It's on our forum as well. They'll be explaining everything on Friday night. The video will be going up then. Charlie will be there representing Hammer's Chat. You guys all submit your teams to me blind. You just don't know what each other's picked. I've had to put it together and come up with our final 11. There was only 2 different goalkeepers nominated. We're not going to discuss them. You can probably guess who they were, but obviously one of them made the final 11, which you'll find out on Friday night over on the West Ham Fan TV channel. We obviously picked 4 defenders. Gonzo, the way the Sun does it, you can have 4 centre-backs or 4 full-backs. Should we, as when you're creating a fantasy league team, should you really be looking for 4 attacking full-backs and racking up the points for assists?
Yeah, well, it's the difference between picking the best team and picking a team that's going to score highly in fantasy football, basically. Yeah, you'd look for an attacking full-back that, as you say, is going to, well, ideally, one was going to take corners and set pieces. So you'd have... you look at the guys in our league. So unfortunately, Aaron Cresswell, were he to have been selected, would have been a fine choice because you'd have a stream of crosses coming over. If you're not doing that, and obviously you want to look for teams which are traditionally defensively sound. So the team I submitted to you, which also included Memphis Depay, should I say, until I was rudely told that Holland hadn't qualified. So that was I was disgusted with that. But I think the Italian are traditionally very, very good defensively. So either attacking players that are going to score or people that are going to get the full marks for a clean sheet.
Gonzo only actually submitted 5 players. He didn't even come up with an 11 because that's how little he knows. One of them was Memphis Depay. I will reveal his other 4 later. Tom, speaking of defenders, speaking of fullbacks that get forward, me and you submitted your team to me. I said I like one of your players. You said I said, give me a hidden gem. You pick this player. Who is your... Well, he plays left backs in real life. Give us your hidden gem.
Ricardo Rodriguez. He plays over in Germany, obviously, for, I think it's Wolfsburg. And he's just their set piece taker. His free kicks and his penalties are unbelievable. And he's a good defender as well. I think a number of the top clubs are interested in him. And other than maybe Shaqiri, I don't know who else the Swiss have to take certain, corners, free kicks and penalties. And I just think that he's such a good finisher that if the Swiss have to take penalties, free kicks, stuff like that, he'll be there. And for only $2.5 million, it was a snip. He was the Mikel Antonio of the Sun Dream Team.
Well, there's your bargain, but sometimes you do have to spend the big bucks. Charlie, I asked you for who's your absolute utmost. Who do you want in this 11 more than anyone else? And you said...
Paul Pogba. I think Pogba is just I mean, we all know Pogba's a good player. It's very obvious that Pogba is a good footballer. But I mean, if you look at France's recent games, some of the things he's been able to pull off have been of unbelievable quality. And I think playing for the home nation, being the beating heart of that team, he will play every single game unless he gets injured. I think he's able to pull off assists, he's able to score goals, he's able to pull the strings. And when you look at players who are going to score points, I mean, he's going to consistently be highly rated if he can pull off what he's able to pull off. So for me, I think Pogba, just as a player, you picked just the one that you allow yourself to splash out on no matter what.
Well, there was two players that everybody, all four of us nominated. One was Chiellini. Well, Charlie never nominated Chiellini, but he picked an Italian defender. He's in our team. I will reveal that. And Thomas Muller is a striker. Gonzo, you submitted 5 players. We've revealed one. Thomas Muller was one other, and obviously Chiellini. So that's 3 of your players. The other player you picked, which surprised me, was Hazard. Do you think he's going to, despite his poor season with Chelsea, are you expecting him to light up at the Euros? Because where I'm concerned, Belgium always fail to turn up for me. I think they're more an 11 individuals rather than 11 really good team.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a rich history, but I think they've probably got their best crop ever at the moment. It's also worth pointing out that that the rest of us don't know the team you've picked. So we've all submitted players for you. We don't know the team, and we're not revealing the team yet. So I don't know if Hazard's been in there, but I don't think, my personal opinion on Hazard is I don't think anybody with that much talent could be so consistently crap for so long. Something was going on. He was not playing for Mourinho. He's a moody bugger, and he really. I mean, but he clearly didn't want to play. He was almost on strike, and in the last couple of games of the season, he came out and started playing again. And I think he'll want to showcase his skills in the tournament itself. But yeah, no, I mean, it was interesting. Tom talking about Shaqiri as well, because I think he's come over. He's not really done as well as he could have done. He looks like a player who had a lot of promise, and he came to Stoke for 12 million, I think. He looks like Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones, actually, doesn't he? But he's not really done as well as he would have done. But there's a lot of players with talent who have not performed this season, like Hazard, and this is really a showcase for all of them. So we just hope that Payet doesn't get injured, though. That's the thing that bothers me about it.
Well, going from one moody player with loads of skills with a crap season and crap attitude, well, not so much as crap season. Tom, you think Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo was well overpriced in Fantasy League, and none of us picked him.
Yeah, no, I think memory serves me right, 7.5 million, and you could have had Lewandowski and Muller for 500,000 cheaper. And Ronaldo he carries Portugal, but that Portuguese side is awful. It is rubbish, and they don't show up in tournaments, and neither does Ronaldo. Hence why they've been consistently crap for year on year, year after year, Euros and World Cups. And yet again, I don't think he has a supporting cast this year to do well in the Euros. He may get a couple of goals, but he's just too overpriced when there's players that are a lot better than him for less money.
Charlie, one surprise I got when I got your team through, some of the players were the same as me, some of the players were the same as Tom. There was one player I thought, why is he picking this guy? Why are you picking what I think is a defensive midfielder? Why are you picking Eric Dyer? Like, are you expecting goals or assists all of a sudden from him?
Well, I think here's the thing. When I pick my team, I look at who's going to play a lot of matches for a start. Because there's no point picking someone who's going to play 3 matches and then go out unless they're going to be the greatest 3 matches anyone's ever witnessed in their lives, right? So I think Eric Dyer is a guy who will probably play most games for England just because of his utility nature. If someone gets injured, he's coming in at defence. If someone gets injured at right back, he's playing at right back. He should, in my opinion, start at central defensive midfielder. He is a defensive midfielder, which means he's probably not going to get goals. There's a chance of him getting assists, but not highly likely. But you also get points for highly rated. And when you look at him, he just does everything really well, and he doesn't make that many mistakes. And so when it comes to just getting reliable points on the board, I think Eric Dyer is one of those people that he's not going to be the greatest, most outstanding player in the world, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be a reliable point scorer, and that's in my opinion.
Don't let him get away with that, Gio. Press him on this. Press him, mate.
Come on, Gonzo, let's hear you have your say on this.
No, you press him. Don't let him get along. Tell him it's about goals and assists.
I was going to say, I will take that one. In Fantasy League, it's all goals and assists, and Dyer just is not. I mean, assists potentially, and I know you can get star men rating, I understand that, but I think that Rooney likes to show up in tournaments. I think he will probably take star ratings most of the time. And the three midfielders you want to have are wanting to be attacking midfielders. And don't forget, this is a tournament over a couple of weeks, not a full season. And whereas it was your opinion, Charlie, I just think Dyer, not for me in a fantasy team.
Well, Tom, you're next on my list. When I first met you, very first met you, you said to me, "Oh, I am a big England fan. I am a huge England fan." You had no England players in your team.
Yes,
So,
I did.
Mr. Big England fan, you didn't
Yes,
have any.
I did. I had John Stones.
Okay, well, you had John Stones who might not start at the Euros. At least Charlie is picking someone who's going to start every game. Smalling will start for England, and there's a very good chance it'll be Cahill and not Stones. So you're actually picking someone who might not even start.
I think he will start. I think he should because I think he's our best fullback going forward. Centre back going forward. I think he just fair enough. He's made some mistakes, but I think he's very comfortable on the ball. And this competition is going to probably bring out the best of him. He's got a point to prove after his season, and I like it because I see a bit of Bobby Moore in him. You know, when he comes, not fully Bobby Moore, but the way he brings the ball to the halfway line and plays ball forward. We saw it in the FA Cup final a couple of weeks ago. He came when Everton were 1 down. He came charging right through the middle and he played a ball that went over to the left wing, and it just looked like it was Bobby Moore feeding through to Jeff Hurst or someone like that. I know obviously they're not the same player, and I'm not comparing the two, but it's just nice to see someone so composed on the ball. And I prefer him over Cahill and Jagielka or the rest of them any day of the week.
Well, as you pointed out, Charlie, you get points in fantasy league for goals and assists. Now, Charlie, what do you make of England's chances at Euro 2016? How far do you think they're going to go?
All right, I'll say quarters. I think we're a team. There's a lot of potential. I think John Stones is some potential. I think Eric Dyer is some potential. But I mean, you have the likes of Dele Alli. You have the likes of Harry Kane. There's Raheem Sterling. You have a lot of players with potential in there. Also, sort of coupled with a couple of old timers like your Jagielkas and whatnot. But I just think that if to get past the quarters would be something special. I think we're not quite finished. I think as a team we're sort of getting there slowly, held back maybe by someone in charge, but we're getting there slowly, and eventually maybe in a couple of tournaments we might actually be able to get a semi-final or something more. But for now, I mean, the quarters I think is what we should be aiming for and should be considered a decent tournament.
Gonzo, how far are England going in your opinion? What is a decent tournament for England in your opinion?
It's going to be much of a muchness. So, see, the trouble is with England, we've got collective amnesia. So it comes around and we forget about everything that's gone before. So actually everyone will forget about the Uruguay game, and there's always an excuse. That time old Gerrard passed it to Suarez, forgetting to be totally outclassed. So Canberra had a goal chalked off. If Gazza's leg was just a bit longer, we would have got through against West Germany. Blah, 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 blah. The trouble is you get to an end of the tournament and the same thing happens. We go out early, and we will this time, and you look at the team that's won it and you think, well, what's wrong with England? Well, England won't be able to control the ball as well, won't manipulate or pass the ball as well as all the other teams, and we won't have somebody to bring the ball out at the back. Exactly what Tom said. Actually, we look at those players with distrust. We laugh at Barcelona for playing Mascherano there. We laugh at David Luiz and think he's absolutely crap. But the fact of the matter is, the teams that win have those type of players. We have some technical players in this country, but we will not play them. Probably Jack Wilshere, Ross Barkley are possibly our two most technical players. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of them are on the pitch. And those are the type of players that the other teams have. So I think it'll be much of a muchness, because we are a team that Matt Letizia gets 1 cap for his country, even though he's brilliant. David Batty gets 50, or Carlton Palmer. These industrious players, and I think this year's David Batty is probably Jordan Henderson. That's what will happen, and basically all the other countries will control the ball, control the game more than us. We'll get through knockouts because it's hedged in that way, because it's almost impossible not to get out the group stages. But that'll be it. I just think it'll be a complete flop.
So what round are you predicting you go out in then?
I don't know, because I don't know how the draw is stacked. But the first time we play a decent team, we will go out. England are ranked 16th or 17th in the world, I think, and that's about right. That's about as good as England are at playing football.
Tom, Mr. England fan, are you slightly more positive than these two?
I've got two opinions, one of which is we probably will go out in the quarters, or like Gonzo said, the first time we face a good team. But a part of me says, Leicester City have done something special this year. Why can't we hope? Why can't we be optimistic for once? And I know, again, it probably will fall.
Probably because you left the English Leicester City players at home.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, why not be optimistic? I mean, we have good technical players. I think Dele Alli hopefully has a really good tournament. I think he's a fantastic player and will be in the future for England. I think Harry Kane and Vardy, if they're on form, will play well. And if Rooney's picking up people in midfield, but like I said, realistically, it probably will be the quarters. But there's time after time. You see Jeff Hurst. I saw on the news the other day was saying this is the best group of England players we've had. They can probably go all the way, and they are hyped up so much to a certain extent that it does become frustrating because then they go to these tournaments and they do flop and they do perform badly. But for once, I would like to see us have a decent run, maybe semis, finals, something like that, something to come home and be proud of. This time we're taking a sort of a younger group, a fresh group that haven't exactly been blooded with England before. They've got a point to prove. Why not prove it this time round? And like I said, I would like to be optimistic and think we can go ahead and win it or get somewhere near the final. But it probably will go the first time that we play somebody decent.
Well, last question, Gonzo. Is Mr. Wayne Rooney England's Achilles heel? Is he there because he's a captain, but actually he shouldn't be in that starting 11? Vardy and Kane are two top goal scorers in the league, so they should occupy the strikers' positions, I assume. Dele Alli is probably a better attacking midfielder. So why should Wayne Rooney be in that starting 11?
Possibly not. I watched the last game. I think last game we played Australia, right? It's the first England game I've watched in a long time because the formation looked interesting. It looked on paper like he had Vardy and Kane with Rooney in behind. But actually, when it started to unfold, it looked like Sam Allardyce's team. The two strikers were pulling out wide. There's a big gap in the middle, which Wayne Rooney was starting on. Wayne Rooney's got a terrible record at major championships and at the top level, but he is still a very, very good player. He is his Achilles heel. It's his Achilles heel because of the way Hodgson is going to play him. Hodgson has just played a certain way all the time, which has been largely dependent on Welbeck, and Welbeck's not in. I don't think Hodgson knows what to do. So he's going to ask Rooney to play an alien position. Everyone is going to play out of position, it seems. Rooney's come back to fitness, and I think Rooney's a streaky player, and I think Rooney is probably in a bit of form. But this is his last chance. This is the last chance he's going to have to do it, Rooney.
Yes, Tom, yes.
I think there are cases for him not playing, but I genuinely had this conversation in a group chat with some of my mates that when we go over to away games, and we had this exact same conversation. Would you have Rooney in the starting 11? And I think you have to. I think at the end of the day, he's England's best player. 100, near on however many caps he's had and however many goals speaks experience. And there's a lot of players in there that are younger, and I think he needs to be in there for them. And I know Hodgson hasn't got a clue because, like Gonzo said, Welbeck and players like that, but I think he has to play. And at the time when I spoke with my friends, I said no, because there should be players that deserve to be ahead of him. But thinking about it and listening to their side of the argument, I do think he has to play because he is England's most experienced player. This argument was going on as he was coming on and onto the pitch against Australia, and then he comes on and it proves me wrong and he scores. But I think he has to start. He is England's most experienced player.
Well, from a Scottish point of view, I think he's your Achilles heel. I don't think he should be starting. I think he should be starting Kane and Vardy. I think Hodgson should be looking at Spurs and saying, why are they so successful this season? Right, well, you've got Kane, you've got Ali, you've got Walker, you've got Rose, you've got 4 of Spurs' main players for the season. Why don't you just implement that with England and then look at who else you've got? You've got Jack Wilshere there, you've got Jamie Vardy, you've got Stones and Smalling, you've got a really good team. I actually think England will do really well. I actually think you're going to get to the semis, and I hate to say it, trust me, I hate to say it, I will be rooting every game you play. I will be hoping you go out. I will be crossing my fingers and cheering on whoever you're playing. I will be hoping Gareth Bale scores a screamer and breaks your hearts. I really do. But looking at your team, and Gonzo's right, when you come up against a decent team, you struggle. However, there isn't that many decent countries left anymore. The only 2 teams we've been considering for winning it are France and Germany. That's it. That's just the 2 teams. There is a tier under that. That's Belgium. That's Spain. And we put England in there as well. And on your day, I think you're capable of giving anyone a decent game. I don't think Germany's looked all that impressive in the qualifiers. They were in Scotland's group. I've seen Scotland give them a run for their money. I've seen Ireland beat them. I've seen Poland give them a run for their money. I think Germany are a little bit shaky at the minute, and if you can get at them, if you come up against them, maybe England's workmanship, their work ethic might actually prove to be successful for once, I think, if you come up against them. But anyway, that's it from us. Do pop onto our forum at hammerschat.com. Give your opinions on us. If you think Gonzo's speaking rubbish, let him know. If you think Charlie's speaking rubbish, let him know. If you think Tom's speaking rubbish, let him know. And if you agree with me, let me know. We do, of course, have our mobile phone app. Do search for on Android and the Apple Store West Ham app. The links are on the phone. They're all on our social media. You cannot miss them. Do download it and get involved. And for all your latest West Ham news, although this isn't really a West Ham show, check out clarendonhugh.info. But West Ham Fan TV channel, Friday night, you'll find out who's made our final 11. Charlie is going to have to explain why they're in the final 11. Even though he didn't pick some of the players. It doesn't matter. He's got to make a case for them. And we're going head-to-head with other people, and you'll find out who else is in the league. Thank you for joining our Year 2016 show with no name.